Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a fresh start. It is so good to be back with you in another session of our Fresh Start Talk. I am Shauna Grace, and just in case you are new here, I am a certified life coach and I deal with perspectives. I come to share my experiences and talk to people who are having a problem, a struggle in areas where I have struggled and am now healed in those areas. I am a believer and I like taking the word of the Lord. It's not just for Sunday mornings and Bible study, it's for our everyday life so we can navigate uh, the abundant living to the fullest of what the Heavenly Father wanted us to live it. Prayer has already been done. And let's just dive on in, okay? We left off yesterday talking about repetitiveness. Repetitiveness. Keep saying, keep trying to explain, keep trying to get people to see um, what you keep saying and the new you and all of that. And today I want to talk how many times are you going to say it? That's the question for today. How many times are you going to say it? How many times are you going to keep going over the same thing with people who are telling you in their behavior that they're not going to change? You're going to change. You're the one that changed in the first place. So you need to revert back to who you were so that you and them can have the kind of relationship you all used to have. And I want to say to you, those are the type of people that you need to read Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. To everything there is a time and a season and a purpose under the heaven. And then the second through the eighth verse goes into the different times and what the times are for. And the sixth verse says there's a time to keep and there's a time to let go. Okay. Excuse me. There's a time to hold on and there's a time to cast away. Many times when we think about family, we think about friends, we think about our BFFs, especially co-workers. Doesn't have You don't have such a problem with them because that's a job. But that family and those BFFs, yeah, even down to the body of Christ, you really have a problem letting go. You really have a problem setting boundaries that do not exhaust you. Setting boundaries so you not that do not exhaust you, but that keep you from being exhausted. Okay. Um, I have my mug. Every day is a fresh start. So I hope you have your mug. And if you don't have coffee in it, I hope you have something. It may not say every day is a fresh start. It may say how beautiful you are. It a whole lot of things it might say. Okay. All right. But I excuse me. It's our time together. Now, back to you just constantly saying it over and over and over. It gets exhausting. You don't know how exhaustive it is for you to continue telling somebody over and over and over and over this, that, and the third. Okay. You don't know. It's so exhausting. And see, you don't pay it any mind because people don't talk about that much. They don't talk about the exhaustion. They don't talk about um how uh much is taking out of you when you allow people to continue to do those things. Okay. Excuse me. You don't you don't you don't People don't talk about that. There's a lot of things they talk about, but how exhausting it is to keep repeating yourself to folks who should know better or should have the maturity to know how to respect you and how you are, to observe that you're growing, you're changing, okay? All these types of things. And you continue because you just this my family, I'm trying to tell them, ABC, and it's not like that anymore. And it's and just talking about it, do you see how exhausting it is? I mean, do you really see how exhausting it is for you to do that? It is so exhausting. And you've got to understand that there's not but one of you. You've been given one fresh start today. 12:01 a.m., a fresh start walked in the door. Lamentations 3:22 and 23 tells us new mercies are waiting for us every morning. You can't exhaust them telling folk the same thing you tell them day after day after day after day. God, it's exhausting to even talk about it. Do you get where I'm coming from? What you are supposed to do, okay, is say it once and then live the life. Okay, if you told somebody, I don't, and I've talked about this in previous podcasts. You've told somebody that's not, I don't have an appetite for that anymore. And this is what I have an appetite for now. And I'll just use something similar. I just use food. They normally have brought you um, McDonald's, quarter pounder with cheese or fish, double fish sandwich, maybe something of that order, French fries, and you drink. And excuse me. And you've outgrown McDonald's. That's what you all did. Um, in college, you would, stop by McDonald's, get a burger or something, sit and eat and crack jokes and enjoy each other's company, and then go on and get in your books. You just had a down moment and let your brain rest, and now you're back to your books, so forth. But McDonald's is not cutting it, not even for snack. McDonald's is not cutting it now. Okay. And what is going on now? Excuse me. What is going on now? What is going on now is that you are seeing a level of disrespect. Now, a lot of people don't want to call it that. They don't want to call it disrespect. They want to call it, oh, but they just used to, how I used to be. No, no, no. Now, when they started changing, you saw their changes. You saw them. You saw their changes. Okay. And you said, well, you're like, oh, okay, I see you, girl. Man, okay, all right. And they say, yeah, man, I just don't have an appetite for that anymore. Look, I'm changing. You like, hey, man, hey, I get it. I'm proud. A girl, I was wondering when, but you had to get there on your own. Blah blah blah. Okay. With that said, with that said, you accepted their changes. But when it came to you, that's not what happened. Okay, when it came to you, that's not what happened. All right. You had to stay the same while they gave themselves room to grow. They boxed you in, but you wasn't gonna box them in. You wasn't gonna say to them, "Girl, why you doing that?" No, you don't need to do that. You need to go back to what you used to do. You know what they tell you? I'm not going back. It's not me anymore. And you can either get with it or you're gonna start seeing less of them. But when it come to you, you got to stay in that box. You have to be the person who you were. You can't grow. You can't come on forth. No. That's not how your fresh start was meant to be accepted. Okay? That's rejection. You can talk to the if they I told y'all I was raised by the old folks, so I have a lot of old folk lingo. You can talk till the cows come home, sweetheart. That's not how your new that's not how your new uh fresh start, how your new start's supposed to go, your fresh start. Okay, that's not how we do that. Anytime you have to keep saying to folk, this is how I am. They got it the first time. I touched on that yesterday. And I said we were going to talk about this today. They got it the first time you said it. But they have appointed themselves your caretaker. And in appointing themselves your caretaker, okay? In appointing themselves your caretaker, they have said, I'm going to tell you when you are to change. I'm going to tell you how you are to change. You don't just change. You're not grown. Now here you have raised children, had marriage, and maybe marriages, held down full-time job, all of that. All of that. And now, say what? You gonna tell me what, when, and how? Oh no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I want you to understand that you need to stop repeating yourself. Stop the repetitiveness. You told them that's not my appetite anymore. You know, if you bring me anything, don't bring me McDonald's. I'm not there. But girl, I knew I was hungry and I just stopped by. I knew I was on my way here and I had nothing to eat. And I stopped by and got me something from McDonald's. And I didn't want to come here and eat and they hadn't brought you anything, so I got you your favorite. And you told them, I don't eat that anymore. Yeah, but girl, it ain't gonna kill you to eat one time. Okay, so you know what you do? If you have children, they're at the house. Cody, ma'am, you want some McDonald's? Yes, ma'am. Okay. I didn't buy that for them. I bought that for you. But I told you I don't eat it. And my children still do, but I don't. So it got eaten. I didn't throw it in the trash to disrespect your kindness. I gave it to my child. That's it. I gave it to my child. And they may get offended by that. Well, I ain't gonna buy you nothing no more. Okay, fine. No problem. What has gotten into you? I told you that that's not me anymore, and you're choosing to disrespect who I'm becoming. I'm not disrespecting you, but you are. I told you that's not me anymore, and I'm not gonna keep telling you. I can show you better than I can tell you. Well, Dad, where you eat now? Olive Garden. I can run by Chipotle. And I eat that too. No problem. Well, you had to go inside to do that. No, you can order. Well, what do you get from there? And you tell them. Now, if they're really in your corner, the next time food comes to the house that they stop by to get, they're going to get what you said that you eat now. And when they walk in the door, you will see respect. You will see respect. Okay? But if they keep, well, you can buy that. I'm buying McDonald's. Okay, and I'll keep giving it to my child when you come. I appreciate the gesture, but I don't eat that anymore. So you telling me every time I bring McDonald's to the house, your child's gonna eat? Yeah. Would you rather have them to eat it than me throw it in the trash? Because that's where it's going. I don't eat that. I'm who I am now. And I'm not reverting back to who I was. Not gonna say it anymore. Well, I think it's time for me to go. Okay. You have a good evening. Just like that. Yes. Just like that. I'm not getting ready to keep repeating myself. That's it. Shauna Grace, that's cold. No, that's not cold. That's you being who you are. You didn't say it mean. You didn't go to the door and say, get out. I told you. Mm-mm. None of that. You were very polite, very kind, and you were firm. This is who I am. This is how I am. Okay? This is who I am. This is how I am. Period. I hate repeating myself. I hate it with a passion. However, there was a period in my life I repeated myself so much I got sick of hearing me talk. Now, when you repeat yourself to that degree, honey, when you repeat yourself to that degree, that's too much. Mm-hmm. That's too much. That's too much. Okay. I want you to understand that you can say it one time and you don't have to say it again. And if you need me to work with you, contact me. Okay? Contact me. DM me, send me a inbox or whatever, and we'll talk further on what that looks like for me to work with you. Okay? But I need you to understand the repetitiveness has to stop. If you're going to make the statement, then make the statement and move on. Otherwise, you're just in quicksand with your mouth. Swallow that. You're in quicksand with your mouth unnecessarily. Okay? And we're going to talk some more about this tomorrow. So join me right here for a fresh start. And we're going to talk some more about you saying it one time and leaving it. All right. Have a good one.